She gave away her only meal, not knowing the two broke seniors were billionaires hunting for the one person still capable of selfless kindness. By morning, they were parked outside her crumbling apartment with lawyers, a contract, and a life-altering question. Are you ready to change the world with us? Welcome back, my beautiful family and friends. If you're hooked in and you're ready to enjoy this story, click subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from, because tomorrow I will be giving you another story just as interesting as this one, and you don't want to miss it. Now, back to our story. This is Tiana Moore, 25 years old, waiting tables for $7 an hour plus tips. Tonight, she's about to make a choice that changes everything. The elderly white couple at booth 4, whispering apologies, hands trembling over an unpaid check. They're worth more money than her entire town will earn in a century, and they're here on purpose. As Tiana walks toward them carrying her own dinner, the plate she saved 3 days to afford, she has no idea she's walking into a test. The old man's gentle smile isn't just grateful, it's calculating. The woman's designer handbag contains a foundation checkbook that will soon have Tiana's name written across it in gold ink. But here's what makes this story extraordinary. Tiana doesn't know any of this. She just sees two people celebrating an anniversary who can't pay their bill, and that's exactly what they're counting on. One selfless act. Two billionaires in disguise. A reward that will feed thousands. But let me take you back to where this all began. Because to understand why what happens next is so powerful, you need to see what Tiana's life was really like. 11 p.m. Every Friday night, Tiana's ritual is the same. She counts her tips in the back corner of Millie's diner, under the flickering fluorescent light that management refuses to fix. Tonight's total, $47. 20 goes to her mother's prescriptions. 15 covers part of the electric bill. The remaining 12? That's for her. One hot meal after 6 days of stretching peanut butter and instant ramen as far as they'll go. The red uniform she's wearing has been washed so many times the diner's logo is barely visible. She bought it second-hand when she started here 6 years ago, right after her mother, Ruth Moore, collapsed at the textile mill and never went back. Through the diner's front window, she can see the storm rolling in. Rain beginning to tap against the glass. Thunder rumbling somewhere distant. She doesn't know that in 15 minutes, two strangers will walk through that door and test whether kindness still exists in a world that's forgotten how to be kind without cameras watching. Their small apartment on Maple Street tells its own story. The yellow paint peeling in long strips, revealing decades-old wood underneath. The porch steps sag in the middle from years of weight and weather. 3 of the 5 windows have cracks covered with duct tape. Temporary fixes that became permanent because permanent costs money they don't have. Inside, the space is smaller than most people's living rooms. 1 bedroom for her mother, a pull-out couch in the main room where Tiana sleeps. A kitchen so narrow that only one person can stand in it at a time. But it's clean. Spotless, actually. Because if Tiana can't afford to fix things, she can at least make sure everything shines. The walls are covered with things that cost nothing but mean everything. Crayon drawings from the neighborhood kids she babysits on her days off. A faded photograph of her father in his army uniform. He died when she was 7. Her high school diploma in a dollar store frame. Her mother's collection of handwritten Bible verses on index cards, taped above the kitchen sink. Give, and it will be given to you. Tiana passes that verse every morning. She used to believe it. These days, she's not so sure. 6:30 a.m. Earlier, that same Friday morning, before her shift, Tiana sits at her mother's bedside. Ruth Moore is 52, but looks 70. The heart condition has aged her in ways that break Tiana's heart every single day. The oxygen machine hisses softly in the corner. Ruth's breathing is labored even with the tubes in her nose. "Baby, you look tired," Ruth whispers, reaching for Tiana's hand. "I'm fine, Mama." Tiana forces a smile. The same smile she gives customers who don't tip. "Just been busy at the diner." "You working too hard?" "I'm working exactly enough." Tiana adjusts her mother's blanket, avoiding eye contact. "Don't you worry about me." But Ruth sees through her daughter the way only mothers can. She sees the weight loss, the dark circles under her eyes. The way Tiana's hands shake slightly from exhaustion she won't admit to. "When's the last time you ate a real meal?" "Mama, don't mama me. I know you've been skipping meals again." Tiana stands, busying herself with straightening things that don't need straightening. "I'm fine. Tonight's Friday. I'm getting my meal tonight." "Promise me." "I promise." It's a promise she means to keep. She has no idea that by midnight that promise will be broken, and her entire life will be different because of it. The diner is a 15-minute walk from their apartment. Tiana makes this walk twice a day, 6 days a week. She knows every crack in the sidewalk, every house, every stray cat that lives in the alley behind the hardware store. Millie's Diner sits on the corner of Main and 5th, a relic from the 1960s that refuses to die. The neon sign out front flickers constantly. Millie's Den ER because the E burned out 3 years ago and nobody's bothered to fix it. Inside, the place smells like coffee, bacon grease, and the dreams people had before life got complicated. Red vinyl booths patched with duct tape, a checkerboard floor that's faded from white and black to gray and grayer, a jukebox in the corner that still plays if you hit it just right. This is where Tiana has spent 6 years of her life. 6 years of smiling at people who barely see her. 6 years of pretending that $7 an hour is enough. 6 years of watching everyone else's life move forward while hers stands completely still. Sharon, her coworker, is already complaining when Tiana arrives for the evening shift. "Table 8 left me $1 tip. $1. Like I'm supposed to be grateful." "At least they left something," Tiana says, tying her apron. "That's your problem, T. You're too nice. These people see nice and they take advantage." Tiana doesn't argue. She used to. But after 6 years, she's learned that Sharon sees the world one way, and she sees it another, and neither of them is going to change. She checks her pocket. The $12 is still there, folded carefully. Her Friday reward. Tonight, she's ordering the chicken dinner with mashed potatoes and green beans. Real food. Food that didn't come from a can or a box. Her stomach growls just thinking about it. The evening rush is typical. Regulars come and go. Old Mr. Patterson with his black coffee and crossword puzzle. The Henderson family with their 3 loud kids. A handful of truckers passing through town. Tiana greets them all with the same warm smile, the same genuine care. Because even when life is hard, she still believes people deserve to be treated like they matter. 9:45 p.m. The rain starts. Soft at first, then building into something heavier. The kind of storm that makes people want to stay inside, curl up somewhere warm. The dinner rush has ended. Only a few tables remain occupied. Tiana's feet ache. Her back hurts. But in 15 minutes, the kitchen will plate her chicken dinner, and she'll finally eat something that tastes like hope. She's wiping down the counter when the bell above the door chimes. 2 people step inside, shaking rain from their coats. An elderly white couple, distinguished looking. the man in a damp wool coat, the woman in a cream-colored scarf that probably cost more than Tiana makes in a month. They look around uncertainly before choosing booth 4, the one by the window where the rain streams down the glass like tears. Tiana grabs 2 menus and walks over, her practiced smile already in place. "Evening, folks. Nasty weather out there." "Indeed it is," the man says. His voice is educated, gentle. "Thank you for being open." "Of course. What can I get you to drink?" They order coffee, decaf for her, regular for him. As Tiana pours, she notices their hands are intertwined across the table. There's something tender about it, something that makes her chest ache with the loneliness she usually keeps buried. "Celebrating something special tonight?" she asks. The woman's eyes light up. 50 years married today." 50 years? Tiana's smile becomes genuine. "That's beautiful. Congratulations." "Thank you, dear," the man says. "We wanted somewhere quiet, somewhere real, not some fancy restaurant where they serve portions the size of a quarter." Tiana laughs. "Well, we definitely serve real portions here. Can I get you folks started with some food?" They order simply. Chicken dinner for 2, 1 slice of pie to share. Tiana writes it down, warmth spreading through her chest. 50 years, half a century of love. In a world that seems to be falling apart, maybe that's the proof that some things still last. She puts their order in and returns to wiping tables. Through the kitchen window, she can see the cook plating her dinner. Her mouth waters. 10 more minutes. 10:15 p.m. The couple finishes their meal. Tiana clears their plates, asks if they need anything else. The man asks for the check. She returns with it, setting it face down on the table the way she always does. That's when everything changes. The man opens his wallet, pauses, checks his pockets. His face changes, embarrassment coloring his cheeks. "Grace," he says quietly to his wife. "Do you have your purse?" The woman's eyes widen. She looks in her bag. Edward, I left it in the car. I'm sure I did." "The car is 3 blocks away," he says. "In this rain?" They exchange a look, the kind of look 2 people share when they've been together long enough to communicate without words. "I'm so sorry," Edward says to Tiana. "This is embarrassing. I can't seem to find my wallet, and my wife's purse is, well, this is our fault entirely." Sharon appears at Tiana's elbow, arms crossed. "You're kidding." "We're not trying to," Grace begins. "Save it," Sharon interrupts. "Can't pay, can't eat. That's the rule." The couple begins to stand, mortification written across both their faces, and Tiana looks down at the plate waiting at the counter. The chicken dinner she saved 3 days to afford. The meal that was supposed to be hers. Her stomach clenches with hunger, but her heart clenches with something stronger. "Wait," she hears herself say. The evening shift at Millie's diner starts the same way it always does, with Sharon complaining. "Look at this." She waves a crumpled dollar bill in Tiana's face as they clock in. "Table 12 left me this. I served them for an hour, refilled their drinks 4 times, and they leave me a single dollar like I should frame it." Tiana ties her apron, checking her reflection in the scratched mirror by the time clock. Her red uniform is faded but clean. Her hair is pulled back in a neat bun. She looks tired, but she always looks tired these days. "At least they left something," she says. "That's your problem, T." Sharon pulls her order pad from her pocket. "You're too grateful. These people see nice, and they walk all over you. Or maybe they're doing the best they can." Sharon snorts. "Keep telling yourself that while you're eating ramen for the 3rd night in a row." Tiana doesn't respond. There's no point. Sharon sees the world through a lens of disappointment and skepticism. After 12 years at this diner, maybe that's inevitable. But Tiana refuses to let 6 years turn her into that. Not yet, anyway. The dinner crowd trickles in right on schedule. Mr. Patterson takes his usual spot at the counter. Booth 2, always facing the door. He's 73, a Vietnam vet with hands that shake when he holds his coffee cup. He orders the same thing every Friday: meatloaf, mashed potatoes, no gravy. "Evening, Mr. Patterson," Tiana says warmly. "Evening, Tiana." His weathered face creases into a smile. "How's your mama doing?" "Hanging in there. She asked about you last week. Tell Ruth I said hello. Tell her I'm still praying." "I will, thank you." 3 booths over, Jessica Martinez sits with her 2 kids, Marco, age 5, and little Sophia, who just turned 3. Jessica works at the Dollar General and picks up whatever shifts she can find. Her husband left 2 years ago. She never talks about it. The kids are coloring on the paper placemats Tiana gave them. Sophia's tongue sticks out in concentration. "You guys want your usual?" Tiana asks. "Please." Jessica's smile doesn't quite reach her eyes. "And can we do water instead of milk tonight?" Tiana understands immediately. Money's tight. It's always tight, but some weeks are tighter than others. "Actually," Tiana says, lowering her voice, "I think we messed up an order earlier. 2 chocolate milks just sitting there. Would you be doing me a favor and taking them off our hands?" Jessica's eyes glisten. "Tiana, you don't have to." "I insist. Can't let them go to waste." It's a lie. A kind lie. But the way Sophia's face lights up when Tiana brings those milkshakes makes it worth every penny Tiana will quietly pay for them later. This is who Tiana Moore is. This is what Sharon will never understand. Some people count tips. Tiana counts moments. By 7:30, the diner fills with the usual Friday crowd. Truckers stopping for coffee before the long haul. Factory workers grabbing dinner before the night shift. Families treating themselves to something they didn't have to cook. Tiana moves between tables like she's dancing, a choreography she's perfected over thousands of shifts. Refill coffee without being asked. Remember that Tom likes his burger well done. Know that the Anderson twins will order 1 slice of pie and split it because that's all they can afford. See people. Actually see them. During her 15-minute break, Tiana sits in the back alley, leaning against the brick wall. The dumpster smells like old grease and yesterday's hope, but at least it's quiet. Her phone buzzes. "Mama." "Hey," Tiana answers. "Baby, you eating tonight?" Ruth's voice is thin, breathless. "Yes, Mama, it's Friday." "Don't skip it again. I know you do that. I know you give your money away." Tiana closes her eyes. Her mother knows her too well. "I'm eating tonight, I promise. A real meal, not crackers. A real meal, chicken dinner, the whole thing." "Good." Ruth coughs, a wet, rattling sound that makes Tiana's chest tighten. "You take care of everybody else, baby. But you gotta take care of you too." "I will. I love you, Mama. Love you more." After they hang up, Tiana reaches into her apron pocket. The $12 is still there, folded carefully. 3 days of tips she didn't spend. 3 days of telling herself that Friday would come, and Friday would be worth it. Her stomach growls. When was the last time she ate something substantial? Tuesday? Wednesday? The days blur together when you're running on coffee and determination. But tonight is different. Tonight she eats. She heads back inside, the promise of that chicken dinner pulling her forward like a lighthouse in the dark. The sky outside begins to change around 8:45. Clouds rolling in, dark and heavy. The kind of clouds that mean business. Thunder rumbles in the distance. Great, Sharon mutters, glancing at the window. Storm's coming. Watch, the power'll go out right in the middle of rush. But Tiana has always loved storms. Loved the way they make the world feel smaller, more intimate. Loved the sound of rain on the diner's tin roof. Loved how people huddle together when lightning splits the sky. The first drops hit the window at 9:15. Soft at first, then harder. Within minutes, it's a downpour. The dinner crowd thins, people finishing their meals and hurrying to their cars. Mr. Patterson leaves a $5 tip on a $7 check. The way he does every week, stretching his veteran's pension to make sure Tiana gets something extra. By 9:30, only 3 tables remain occupied. Sharon is already counting her tips, eager to leave. Tiana wipes down the empty booths, her mind on the meal waiting for her. The cook, Jimmy, has already asked her what she wants. Chicken dinner, she told him. Extra green beans. You got it, T. The storm intensifies, rain hammering the windows now, thunder closer, lightning flickering through the glass, turning everything white for a split second before plunging back into the warm glow of the diner lights. Tiana pauses at the window, watching water stream down in rivers. There's something electric in the air tonight, something that feels different. Sharon bumps her shoulder. You good? Yeah? Tiana turns back to her tables. You ever get a feeling like something's about to happen? Only feeling I got is tired. Sharon yawns. 2 more hours, and I'm out. But Tiana can't shake it. This sense that tonight isn't just another Friday, that something is shifting, changing, preparing to break open like the storm outside. She thought it was just another stormy night, another shift, another handful of tips, another small meal to look forward to. But she didn't know destiny had already booked a table. The bell above the door chimes at 9:52. 2 people step inside, shaking rain from their coats like wet dogs. An elderly white couple, distinguished even soaked through. The man wears a wool coat that probably cost more than Tiana's monthly rent. The woman's cream scarf is silk, spotted now with dark raindrops. They stand in the entrance, dripping on the checkered floor, looking around uncertainly. Tiana grabs 2 menus. Evening, folks. Come on in. Let's get you somewhere dry. Thank you, dear. The woman's voice is refined, educated. We weren't expecting such weather. It came out of nowhere, Tiana agrees, leading them to booth 4, the one by the window where rain streams down the glass in silver rivers. Here you go. Let me get you some towels. She returns with clean bar towels and 2 glasses of water. The couple is already settled, their wet coats draped over the booth's edge. Up close, Tiana notices details. The man's elegant hands, the woman's pearl earrings, the way they look at each other with a familiarity that only decades can build. What can I get you to drink? Coffee would be wonderful, the man says. Decaf for my wife, regular for me. Coming right up. As Tiana pours their coffee, she hears them talking softly. Their voices carry that particular tone of people who've been together so long they finish each other's sentences. 50 years ago tonight, the woman says, you couldn't afford coffee, let alone dinner. The man chuckles. And you married me anyway. I didn't marry you for money, Edward. I married you because you made me laugh. Tiana's chest tightens. There's something achingly beautiful about them. Excuse me, she says gently, but did I hear right? 50 years? The woman's face lights up. Our anniversary, half a century married today. That's incredible. Tiana's smile is genuine now, spreading across her tired face. Congratulations. That's really beautiful. Thank you, dear, the man, Edward, says. We wanted somewhere quiet tonight, somewhere real. Not some fancy restaurant where they serve food you need a magnifying glass to see. Tiana laughs. Well, we definitely serve real portions here. Can I get you something to eat? They order simply. 1 chicken dinner to split. Small garden salad. 1 slice of apple pie for dessert. Perfect, Tiana says, writing it down. I'll have that right out for you. She puts their order in, then checks on her other tables. The Martinez family is leaving. Jessica counts out exact change while her kids drag their feet, not wanting to go back to the rain. Sharon is cleaning her section, moving with the efficient boredom of someone counting down minutes. And Tiana's chicken dinner is sitting under the heat lamp, waiting. 10 more minutes, she tells herself. Just need to serve the anniversary couple, then I can finally eat. Through the kitchen window she watches them. The way Edward holds Grace's hand across the table. The way they lean toward each other, speaking in voices meant only for each other. The way Grace touches her husband's cheek, and he closes his eyes like it's the first time anyone's ever touched him that way. This is what love looks like, Tiana thinks. After everything, after decades, still holding hands in a roadside diner during a storm, she brings their food out, setting it before them carefully. This looks wonderful, Grace says. Enjoy, and happy anniversary. Tiana returns to her other duties, but her eyes keep drifting back to booth 4. There's something about them. Something that makes her heart hurt in a way she doesn't quite understand. Maybe it's because her own parents never made it to 50 years. Her father died when she was 7. Her mother never remarried. Said she'd already found her person, and you don't get 2 of those in one lifetime. Maybe that's what she's seeing now. 2 people who found each other and held on. The couple eats slowly, savoring. They share bites of food off each other's plates. They laugh quietly at private jokes. They exist in their own world. At 10:37, Edward signals for the check. Tiana brings it, setting it face down on the table. No rush, whenever you're ready. She's turning away when she hears it. Grace, Edward's voice has changed. Do you have your purse? Tiana glances back. The man is checking his pockets, his movements becoming more frantic. He opens his wallet. Nothing. Checks his coat. Nothing. The woman, Grace, searches her handbag, her face paling. Edward, I think I left it in the car. Where did we park? 3 blocks down, near the pharmacy. They look at each other. In the window's reflection, Tiana can see their expressions, genuine embarrassment, rising panic. I'm so sorry, Edward says, turning to Tiana. His face is flushed. This is mortifying. I can't find my wallet, and my wife's purse is back in the car. In this storm, Sharon appears at Tiana's elbow like a vulture sensing roadkill. You've got to be kidding me. Her voice cuts through the diner. Can't pay, can't eat. That's the rule. We're not trying to... Grace begins, her voice trembling. Save it, Sharon interrupts. I've heard every excuse. Just go. The couple begins to stand, mortification written across both their faces. Grace's hands are shaking. Edward won't meet Tiana's eyes. And Tiana looks at them, really looks at them. 2 people celebrating 50 years of marriage. 2 people who probably scrimped and saved for this anniversary dinner. 2 people who just want one meal together on one special night. Then she looks at the counter, at her chicken dinner still warm under the heat lamp. The meal she saved 3 days to afford. The meal her stomach has been crying for. The meal her mother made her promise to eat. Her hands grip her order pad. Her heart hammers against her ribs. "Wait," she hears herself say. Sharon's head snaps toward her. "Tiana, don't. Please, sit." Tiana's voice is steady, even though her insides are screaming. "Dinner's taken care of." Edward blinks. "I'm sorry." "Your meal, it's paid for." "By who?" Sharon demands. Tiana walks to the counter, picks up her chicken dinner, her Friday victory, her small reward, and carries it back to booth 4. "By me," she says simply. She sets the warm plate before them, pours fresh coffee into both their cups. Her hands don't shake, even though inside she's falling apart. "You can't be serious," Sharon hisses. "That's your meal. You've been saving for that all week." "I know. So you're just gonna eat air all weekend?" Tiana looks at Edward and Grace, at their trembling hands and wet eyes, at 50 years of love sitting in a diner booth, trying not to cry from embarrassment. "Some things feed your heart more than food ever could," she says quietly. Grace's voice cracks. "You didn't have to do this." Tiana smiles, even though her stomach is growling, even though she has no idea what she'll eat tomorrow. "Maybe not, but maybe I needed to." She squeezes Grace's shoulder gently, then walks away before they can see her eyes water. Behind her, she hears Grace whisper to her husband, hears the catch in the old woman's voice, hears Edward say something about extraordinary and rare. And she sees, just for a second, the way Edward's eyes follow her. Not grateful. Something else. Something sharp and assessing and calculating. But then she's back behind the counter, and Sharon is glaring at her like she's lost her mind, and the moment passes. What she didn't know was that this was no accident. This was a test. And she just passed. The couple leaves at 11:15. Edward insists on leaving a $50 bill on the table. "For the service," he says, his eyes holding Tiana's for a moment longer than necessary. "And the kindness." Tiana tries to refuse, but he presses it into her hand. "Please, you've given us far more than dinner tonight." They disappear into the rain, the bell above the door chiming their exit. Sharon is on her the second they're gone. They totally scammed you. She's wiping down the counter with angry, jerky motions. That whole sob story, the forgotten wallet, the anniversary. Probably do this at every restaurant in town. Free meals from suckers like you. Tiana folds the $50 bill carefully, sliding it into her apron pocket. Her stomach still aches with hunger, but something else fills the space where that chicken dinner was supposed to go. Something she can't quite name. "They weren't scamming anyone," she says quietly. "How do you know?" "I just know." Sharon snorts. "That's what every mark says. You gave away your only meal for 2 strangers who are probably laughing about it right now." Tiana doesn't respond. She clears booth 4, wiping down the table where Edward and Grace sat. There's something left behind, a cloth napkin, folded carefully. She picks it up, and something catches her eye. Written in elegant handwriting across the corner, "Thank you, E.T." She traces the letters with her finger, then tucks the napkin into her pocket alongside the $50 bill. "Whatever helps you sleep tonight," Sharon mutters, counting out her tips. "Me? I'm going home to actual food." By midnight, the diner is empty except for Tiana and Jimmy in the kitchen. She helps him clean, her movements automatic, her mind elsewhere. "You okay, T?" Jimmy asks, scrubbing the grill. "Yeah, just tired." "You want me to make you something? I know you gave your dinner away." The offer almost breaks her. "No, thank you though. I'll eat at home." It's a lie. They both know it. But Jimmy doesn't push. What Tiana doesn't know, What she can't know is what's happening 3 blocks away. The black Mercedes idles at the corner of 5th and Main, rain drumming against its roof like impatient fingers. Inside, the leather seats are warm, the air smells faintly of expensive cologne, and Edward and Grace Thompson sit in comfortable silence. Edward's wool coat is perfectly dry now. Grace's silk scarf shows no sign of rain damage, because they were never wet. Not really. The driver, a man named Marcus who's worked for the Thompsons for 20 years, glances in the rearview mirror. "How did it go, sir?" Edward pulls a napkin from his pocket. The one from Millie's diner. On it, he's written a single name in his careful handwriting. Tiana Moore. "Founder," he says simply. Grace leans against her husband's shoulder, a soft smile playing at her lips. Finally, someone genuine. "You're certain?" Marcus asks. "Watch the diner," Edward instructs. "I want to see what she does after we leave. Does she complain to her coworker? Does she regret it? Does she mention it to other customers looking for sympathy?" Through the rain-streaked window they watch. Tiana moves through the diner, clearing tables, wiping counters. Her movements are tired but steady. She doesn't gesture dramatically to Sharon, doesn't call anyone over to tell them what just happened, doesn't post about it on her phone. She just works. "She's not telling anyone," Grace observes. "No," Edward agrees, "she's not. Because for her, it wasn't a performance," Grace continues. "It was just the right thing to do." Edward taps the napkin against his knee, a habit from 40 years of making billion-dollar decisions. "How many cities have we searched, Grace? How many diners and restaurants? How many tests?" 17 cities, 6 months. Grace's voice is soft. 83 restaurants. Not one person passed until tonight. "Not one person gave up their own meal," Edward clarifies. "A few offered to pay cash. Several suggested we return tomorrow. One kind soul offered to call us an Uber, but give up their own dinner?" He shakes his head. "Not until her." Marcus shifts the car into drive. "Where to, sir?" "Home. We have work to do." The penthouse suite at the Riverside Hotel occupies the entire 42nd floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the city, rain-swept and glittering. Inside, everything speaks of wealth so old and comfortable it doesn't need to announce itself. Edward sits at his mahogany desk, reading glasses perched on his nose. His laptop glows in the dim light. Grace stands at the window, a cup of tea in her hands, watching the storm. "Tiana Lynn Moore," Edward reads aloud. "Age 25. Born March 14th. Father deceased when she was 7. Army Sergeant David Moore killed in action. Mother Ruth Moore, age 52, disabled. Heart condition, no insurance." "Poor girl," Grace murmurs. "Tiana's worked at Millie's diner for 6 years. Started right after high school, no college. Couldn't afford it. Salary, $7 an hour plus tips. Average monthly income, approximately $900. Monthly expenses," he pauses, adjusting his glasses. "Monthly expenses exceed $1,200. How does she survive?" "She doesn't, not really. She's 3 months behind on utilities, owes $1,800 in medical bills for her mother, uses her tips to buy food and medicine. According to her bank records—" "Edward," Grace interrupts gently. "We shouldn't invade her privacy too deeply. We need to be sure, Grace. We've been fooled before. Remember Cincinnati?" Grace winces. "The man who passed our test and then sold the story to 3 newspapers?" "Exactly." Edward returns to his screen. "But Tiana, there's nothing. No social media presence bragging about good deeds. No calls to local news stations. Her co-workers describe her as too nice and a pushover. Her regulars at the diner. He clicks through several tabs. Her regulars call her an angel. What about the $50 you left her? Edward pulls up another window. She hasn't spent it yet. It's still in her apron pocket. Grace turns from the window. How do you know that? Because she clocked out 45 minutes ago, and our contacts saw her put her entire apron in her locker. She didn't take the money out. She's saving it. For what? Probably her mother's medication. They sit in silence for a moment. Outside, lightning splits the sky, illuminating the city in harsh white light. Let's make sure she's real, Edward says finally. One more day of observation. If she's consistent, if this is truly who she is, then she'll never have to skip another meal again. Grace sets down her teacup and crosses to her husband's desk. She looks at the photo on his screen, Tiana's employee badge photo from the diner, her smile tired but genuine. She's real, Edward. I could see it in her eyes. I think so too, but we've learned to be careful. When do we approach her? Edward checks his watch. Tomorrow morning, early, before she has time to second-guess what she did tonight, before doubt can creep in. He closes his laptop and stands, taking Grace's hand. If she's who we think she is, her life changes tomorrow. And if she's not, then we keep searching. But even as he says it, Edward knows. After 6 months and 17 cities and 83 tests, he knows. The way Tiana's hands didn't shake when she gave away her meal. The way she smiled even though her eyes held tears. The way she told her co-worker that some things feed your heart more than food. That's not something you can fake. That's not something you can teach. That's who someone is. 3 blocks away, in a cramped apartment on Maple Street, Tiana Moore sits at her small kitchen table. A single lamp throws weak light across the yellowed linoleum. In front of her, a peanut butter sandwich on store-brand white bread, a glass of tap water, the $50 bill Edward left her, folded next to her plate. Her mother is humming in the bedroom, an old hymn Tiana remembers from childhood. His eye is on the sparrow. Ruth's voice is thin and reedy, but the tune carries. Tiana takes a small bite of her sandwich. It tastes like cardboard and regret. She thinks about that chicken dinner, how the steam rose from it under the heat lamp, how good it would have tasted, how her stomach would have finally stopped aching. But then she thinks about Edward and Grace, the way they held hands, the way Grace's voice cracked when she said you didn't have to, the way Edward's eyes grew wet with gratitude. 50 years of marriage, 50 years of choosing each other. And on their anniversary, they couldn't afford dinner. Except they could. Tiana doesn't know that part yet. She just knows she made a choice, and she'd make it again. The $50 bill sits untouched. She'll take it to the pharmacy tomorrow, get her mother's heart medication. Maybe there'll be enough left over for groceries. If not, well, she's gone hungry before. You eating, baby? Ruth calls from the bedroom. Yes, Mama. A real meal? Tiana looks at her sandwich. Real enough. She takes another bite, chewing slowly, making it last. In the other room, Ruth continues humming. The sound fills their tiny apartment with something that feels almost like hope. While Tiana Moore sat in the dark, eating peanut butter and praying she could make rent, 2 billionaires 42 floors above the city were planning how to change her life forever. She just didn't know it yet. Saturday morning comes too early. Tiana's alarm doesn't go off because she forgot to set it. She always forgets on her day off. But her body wakes her anyway at 6:30, trained by years of opening shifts. She lies in her pull-out couch bed for a moment, staring at the water-stained ceiling. Her stomach growls. When did she last eat a full meal? Thursday? Wednesday? The $50 is still on the kitchen table where she left it last night. She needs to get to the pharmacy before they run out of her mother's medication. Again. From the bedroom, she hears Ruth's breathing, labored even in sleep. The oxygen machine hisses softly, a sound that's become as familiar as her own heartbeat. Tiana pulls herself up, her joints aching. 25 years old, and she feels 50. She pads to the kitchen in her oversized pajama pants and faded high school t-shirt, hair wrapped in a silk scarf her mother bought her 3 Christmases ago. Instant oatmeal, the cheap kind that comes in packets of 10 for $2. She tears one open, adds hot water from the tap, and stirs. It's 7:15 when someone knocks. 3 sharp raps on the door. Official sounding. Tiana freezes, spoon halfway to her mouth. Nobody knocks at 7:15 on a Saturday. Nobody knocks at all except the landlord when rent is late, which it is, or bill collectors, which she's been avoiding. Another knock, firmer this time. "Just a minute," she calls, abandoning her oatmeal. She grabs a cardigan from the back of a chair, pulling it over her pajamas. Through the peephole, she sees 2 men in dark suits. They look like lawyers or FBI agents. Or both. Her heart hammers. What did I do? She opens the door a crack, the chain still engaged. "Tiana Moore?" one of them asks. He's tall, black, with kind eyes that don't match his intimidating suit. "Yes?" "Ma'am, we need to speak with you." The other man, white, older, built like a linebacker, holds out a card. It's heavy cardstock, embossed with gold lettering she can barely read through the crack in the door. I'm not, Tiana's mind races. The $50. Did Edward report it as theft? Oh God, did she somehow break the law by taking his money? "It's nothing bad, ma'am," the first man says gently, "but you need to see this." Behind them, at the bottom of her porch steps, stands Edward Thompson. He's wearing a different coat today, cashmere, perfectly tailored. His silver hair is combed neatly. He looks nothing like the embarrassed, rain-soaked man from last night. He looks like money. Old money. Real money. The kind of money that doesn't need to announce itself. Tiana's hands go numb. "If this is about the diner bill," she starts, her voice shaking. I wasn't trying to." Edward climbs the steps slowly, a slight smile on his face. "Miss Moore, this isn't about the bill. It's about something far greater." "I don't understand. May we come inside? I promise you're not in trouble. Quite the opposite, actually." Tiana looks at the 2 men in suits, at Edward, at the black Mercedes idling on her street, a car that costs more than her entire apartment building. Slowly, she unlatches the chain and opens the door. They step inside her tiny apartment, and Tiana sees it suddenly through their eyes. The worn furniture, the water stains, the duct-taped window, the medical equipment in her mother's room visible through the half-open door. She wants to disappear. "I'm sorry, it's not much." "It's lovely," a woman's voice says. Grace Thompson appears in the doorway, elegant in a cream pantsuit, her pearl earrings catching the morning light. "Mrs. Thompson?" Tiana's head spins. "What's happening?" Edward gestures to the couch. "Please sit, we have something to tell you." Tiana sits because her legs won't hold her anymore. The 2 suited men position themselves by the door. Grace settles into the armchair, the one with the broken spring that Tiana always avoids. Edward remains standing, his hands clasped behind his back. Last night, he begins, was not an accident. Tiana blinks. I'm sorry? The forgotten wallet, the embarrassment, the perfect storm that left us unable to pay for our anniversary dinner. Edward's eyes are steady on hers. It was staged. The room tilts. Staged? We wanted to see if kindness still exists without cameras watching. Grace says softly, if someone would give without expecting anything in return, without posting about it online, without needing recognition. I don't, Tiana shakes her head. I don't understand. Edward pulls out his phone, shows her the screen. It's a web page. Thompson Global Holdings. Financial headlines. Stock portfolios. Numbers with so many zeros they don't look real. We're not just an elderly couple, he says. We're Edward and Grace Thompson, and we've been searching for someone like you for 6 months. Tiana stares at the screen, at the photos of Edward in boardrooms and Grace at charity galas, at the words billionaire philanthropists and investment empire and humanitarian foundation. You tested me? Her voice comes out small. And you passed, Grace says, her eyes shining. You gave up your only meal in days, without hesitation, without expectation, just pure, selfless kindness. Edward sets his phone aside and kneels in front of Tiana, his movements surprisingly graceful for a man his age. Miss Moore, we run the Thompson Foundation. We fund initiatives that change lives, and we've been searching for someone to lead our newest project. Someone who understands hunger, not just for food, but for purpose, for meaning, for the chance to make a real difference. I'm just a waitress, Tiana whispers. You're not, Grace corrects gently. You're exactly who we need. Edward reaches into his coat pocket and pulls out an envelope. Thick, expensive, sealed with a gold emblem. We'd like to offer you a full scholarship to culinary school, all expenses paid. Housing, books, everything. But that's not all. He opens the envelope, pulls out documents. We're launching the Thompson Community Kitchen Project, nonprofit diners across the country that feed struggling families while training low-income workers in culinary arts. We need someone to help lead it. Someone who knows what it's like to serve others with nothing to gain. Tiana can't breathe. Why me? Because you gave up your only meal without expecting anything back. Edward says simply. That's the kind of hunger the world needs. Hunger to do good, to feed others, to change lives one plate at a time. The words hang in the air. In the bedroom, Ruth's oxygen machine hisses. Outside, a car passes. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barks, and Tiana Moore, who went to bed hungry last night, who woke up to instant oatmeal and worry, who gave away her Friday dinner without a second thought, begins to cry. I don't know what to say, she manages. Grace moves to sit beside her, taking her hand. Say yes. My mother will receive the best medical care money can buy. Edward interrupts. That's part of the package. Her treatment, her medications, everything. She'll never have to worry about health care again. Tiana looks at the documents in Edward's hands, at the gold-embossed Thompson Foundation logo, at these two strangers, no, these two billionaires, who tested her and found her worthy of something she never dreamed possible. I just wanted to help, she whispers. We know, Grace says, that's exactly why it's you. That morning, a billionaire didn't just knock on Tiana Moore's door. He opened another one she never knew existed. The city is louder than Tiana expected. She stands outside the Culinary Institute of America's downtown campus, a single suitcase at her feet, staring up at the glass and steel building that will be her home for the next year. Students rush past her, young, confident, wearing chef whites like armor. She doesn't belong here. She knows it. They know it. But Edward Thompson's words echo in her mind. You earned this. So she picks up her suitcase and walks through the doors. The first week is brutal. Tiana has cooked her whole life. Boxed mac and cheese, scrambled eggs, the occasional chicken dinner at Millie's when Jimmy let her help. But this is different. Chef Ramon Castillo stands at the front of the industrial kitchen, arms crossed, watching 12 students attempt a basic mirepoix. More. His voice cuts through the sound of chopping. Your brunoise is uneven. Again. Tiana's hands shake as she scrapes the carrots into the trash and starts over. Around her, other students, younger, faster, trained since high school, move with practiced efficiency. She's 25 years old, learning to hold a knife properly for the first time. That night, alone in her dorm room, she calls her mother. "Baby, you sound tired," Ruth says. Her voice is stronger now, clearer. The new medication the Thompson Foundation provided is working miracles. "I am tired, Mama. I don't know if I can do this." "You can. You know why." "Why?" "Because you've been doing hard things your whole life. This is just the next hard thing." Tiana closes her eyes, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I miss you. I miss you too. But I'm so proud of you. Your daddy would be so proud." After they hang up, Tiana looks at the photo on her nightstand. Her father in his army uniform. Her mother before the illness. Herself at 7, gap-toothed and smiling. She picks up her knife and practices her cuts until midnight. 3 months in, something shifts. Her brunoise becomes precise. Her sauces stop breaking. Her hands stop shaking when Chef Castillo watches her work. One afternoon, Edward visits the campus. He observes her class from the back, arms folded, saying nothing. Afterward, he pulls her aside. Leadership starts at the table, Tiana, not in the office. She wipes flour from her hands. "I don't understand. Feeding people isn't just about food. It's about dignity, respect, seeing them." He gestures to the kitchen where her classmates are cleaning. "That's what you understand that they don't. You've been hungry. You know what it means when someone fills your plate." "I'm still learning. We're all still learning. The day you stop is the day you stop leading." He leaves her with a new assignment. Design a menu for the community kitchen project. Not fancy food, real food. Food that feeds bodies and souls. Tiana spends 3 weeks on it. Every dish tells a story. Chicken and dumplings like her grandmother made. Red beans and rice that stretch $1. Cornbread that reminds people of home. When she presents it to Edward and the foundation board, there's silence. Then Grace Thompson begins to cry. "This is perfect," she whispers. "This is exactly right." 6 months into the program, Tiana writes letters home every Sunday. "Dear Mama, today I made coq au vin. I'm sending you a picture. The chef said it was restaurant quality. I wish you could taste it. I wish I could cook it for you in our kitchen on Maple Street. But soon, Mama, soon I'll be cooking for hundreds of people, and you'll be there to see it." Ruth keeps every letter, every photo. She pins them on the wall beside her bed, a gallery of her daughter's transformation. The oxygen machine still hisses, but quieter now. Ruth can walk to the bathroom without stopping, can sit in her chair by the window and watch the birds without gasping for air. One evening, she calls Tiana, excitement in her voice. "Baby, you're in the newspaper." "What?" "The local paper. Front page. former waitress leads revolutionary food program. There's a picture of you in your chef whites and everything. Tiana's phone buzzes. Sharon, she answers. Hello? T? Sharon's voice is thick with emotion. They put your name in the papers. You're famous. I'm not famous, you changed your whole life. 1 year ago, you were serving coffee at Millie's, and now... Sharon's voice breaks. I'm proud of you. I know I was hard on you that night, but I'm proud of you. Tiana sits on her dorm room bed, phone pressed to her ear, crying and laughing at the same time. Thank you, Sharon. That means everything. Graduation day arrives in late spring. Tiana stands with her class, cap and gown borrowed because she couldn't afford to buy them. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters except the feeling of accomplishment settling in her chest like a warm meal. In the audience, Ruth sits in the front row. She's gained weight. Her cheeks have color. She looks like herself again. Beside her, Edward and Grace Thompson. They flew Ruth in first class, arranged for her wheelchair, made sure she had the best seat in the house. When Tiana's name is called, Ruth stands, and cheers. Tiana crosses the stage, accepts her diploma, and looks out at the 3 people who saved her life. Edward nods, his eyes wet. Grace presses her hand to her heart. Ruth mouths, I love you, baby. That night, at a small celebration dinner, Edward raises his glass. To Tiana Moore, who reminded us that the best leaders aren't born, they're forged in the fire of their own struggles. To Tiana, Grace echoes. Ruth reaches across the table, takes her daughter's hand. To my baby girl, who always had the gift. Tiana shakes her head. I don't have any special gifts. I just know how to cook. Edward sets down his glass, his expression serious. Tiana, you thought your gift was food, but your true gift was never about the cooking. Then what is it? Grace answers softly. Compassion, the ability to see someone else's hunger and feel it as your own. Tiana looks down at her plate, at the expensive meal she didn't have to save for, didn't have to sacrifice for, didn't have to skip. I just did what anyone would do, she whispers. No, Edward says firmly. You did what almost no one does. That's the difference. 1 year and 3 days after Edward Thompson knocked on her door, Tiana Moore stands in front of a building that has her name on it. The Tiana Moore Community Kitchen, serving hope, 1 plate at a time. The sign gleams in the morning sun, letters carved in reclaimed wood, mounted above double doors that stand wide open. Inside, industrial stainless steel kitchens shine. Long tables fill a dining hall that seats 200. Windows flood the space with natural light. It's beautiful. It's functional. It's hers. You ready? Edward asks, handing her a pair of oversized scissors for the ribbon cutting. Tiana's hands shake. I don't know what to say. Say what's in your heart, that's all anyone needs to hear. The crowd is massive. News cameras, reporters with microphones. Town officials in suits, but mostly it's regular people. Families who need what she's offering. Single mothers who heard about the job training program. Veterans looking for work. Children holding their parents' hands, eyes wide with hope. Mr. Patterson is there. His Vietnam veteran's cap pulled low. Jessica Martinez with her 2 kids. Even Jimmy from Millie's Diner wearing his kitchen whites, grinning with pride. And Sharon, standing in the back, crying openly, not even trying to hide it. Grace Thompson stands beside Tiana, squeezing her hand. Whenever you're ready. Tiana steps to the microphone. Her voice is small at first, then grows. A year ago, I was a waitress making $7 an hour. I skipped meals so my mother could eat. I counted pennies to afford dinner once a week. I know what it's like to be hungry, not just for food, but for hope, for the feeling that tomorrow might be different than today. The crowd is silent. Even the children have stopped fidgeting. Someone once told me that kindness shouldn't be rare, that sometimes it's all we have left to give. She looks at Edward and Grace. Two people taught me that one act of kindness can change everything, not just for one person, for everyone that person touches after. She gestures to the building behind her. This kitchen will serve 300 free meals every day. It will train 20 workers every quarter in professional cooking and hospitality. It will hire single mothers, veterans, formerly incarcerated people, anyone who wants a second chance. Because I believe everyone deserves a seat at the table. Ruth Moore sits in the front row in her wheelchair, oxygen tank beside her, tears streaming down her face. She's wearing her Sunday best, a purple dress she's had for 20 years, now loose on her healthier frame. Tiana meets her mother's eyes. My mama taught me that giving isn't about how much you have. It's about how much you're willing to share. Today, we share everything. She cuts the ribbon. The crowd erupts. People surge forward, not pushing, just moving with collective joy. The doors open wide. The kitchen staff, trained by Tiana herself, stands ready to serve. The first person through the door is a little boy, maybe 6 years old, clutching his grandmother's hand. He looks up at Tiana with enormous eyes. "Is the food really free?" he asks. Tiana kneels to his level. "Every single bite. What do you want to eat?" "Chicken? We have the best chicken you've ever tasted. Come on, I'll show you." She leads him inside, and the cameras capture it. This moment of a former waitress feeding a hungry child in a kitchen that bears her name. Edward and Grace stand apart from the crowd, watching. Grace leans against her husband. "We did good, didn't we?" "She did good. We just gave her the chance. 53 restaurants, 6 months of searching, and we found her." Edward pulls his wife close. "Remember when we thought kindness was dead? She proved us wrong." Inside, Tiana plates food alongside her staff. Chicken and dumplings, red beans and rice, cornbread with honey butter. Real food. Food that fills bellies and hearts. Mr. Patterson walks through the line accepting his plate with shaking hands. "Thank you, Tiana." "No, sir. Thank you for teaching me what service looks like." Jessica Martinez's children race to a table, eyes wide at the portions. "Mama, look how much food." Ruth wheels herself around the dining hall greeting people, making sure everyone feels welcome. She manages the community garden behind the building. Tomatoes, lettuce, herbs, things that grow with patience and care. A reporter approaches Tiana. "How does it feel to have your own restaurant?" "It's not mine," Tiana corrects gently. "It belongs to everyone who walks through those doors. What's next for you?" Before Tiana can answer, Edward appears at her elbow. "Expansion. 4 more cities by next year. 10 cities in 3 years. We're franchising compassion." The reporter scribbles notes. The kindness movement, they're calling it. Tiana shakes her head. "It's not a movement. It's just people taking care of people, the way it should be." That night, after the crowds disperse and the kitchen is cleaned, Tiana stands alone in the empty dining hall. The tables are wiped clean. The floors shine. Tomorrow, they'll do it all again. Sharon finds her there. "You good, T?" "Yeah, just taking it in." Sharon walks through the space, touching tables, looking at the photos on the walls, pictures of Tiana's journey from diner waitress to this. "Remember when I said those old people scammed you?" Tiana laughs. "I remember. I was wrong about them, about you, about everything." Sharon's voice cracks. "You didn't just change your life, T. You changed how all of us see what's possible." They hug in the empty kitchen. Two waitresses who started in the same place but took different roads. Outside, in the parking lot, Edward and Grace Thompson sit in their Mercedes. "Should we go in? Say goodbye?" Grace asks. Edward shakes his head. "Let her have this moment. She earned it." They watch through the window as Tiana turns off the lights, locks the doors, pats the sign with her name one more time. Grace smiles through tears. That night, Tiana didn't just serve food. No, Edward agrees. She served faith back to her community. They drive away into the darkness, their work complete, knowing they've changed one life that will change thousands more. 6 months after the grand opening, Tiana Moore's face appears on the cover of Food and Community magazine. The headline reads, "Kindness Movement Sparked by Waitress Goes National." She's standing in her kitchen whites, arms crossed, smiling that same warm smile she used to give customers at Millie's Diner. But her eyes are different now, confident, purposeful, alive with possibility. Inside her office at the community kitchen, a small space with a desk covered in applications and a wall of thank you letters from families, Tiana's phone won't stop ringing. "Miss Moore, this is Channel 7 News. We'd love to interview you about the expansion. Tiana, it's the mayor's office. We want to discuss replicating your model. Miss Moore, I'm calling from the Department of Agriculture. Your program qualifies for federal funding." She answers what she can, delegates the rest. Because the truth is, the community kitchen isn't just hers anymore. It belongs to something bigger. The Thompson Foundation announces the expansion at a press conference in New York City. Edward stands at the podium, Grace beside him, Tiana slightly behind. She insisted on not being at the center, old habits from years of staying invisible. Today, we're proud to announce the opening of 4 additional Tiana Moore community kitchens, Edward says. Atlanta, Detroit, Phoenix, Philadelphia. Each one will serve 300 meals daily. Each one will train local workers. Each one will be run by someone from that community who understands hunger, not as a concept, but as a lived experience. The cameras flash. Reporters shout questions. One voice rises above the rest. "Mr. Thompson, why invest in free meal programs when there are so many other charitable causes?" Edward looks at Tiana. "Would you like to answer that?" She steps to the microphone, her heart pounding. A year ago, she was counting tips in the back of a diner. Now, she's addressing national media. "Because hunger isn't just about empty stomachs," she says, her voice steady. "It's about empty hope. When you're hungry, you can't think about tomorrow. You can't dream. You can't become who you're meant to be. We're not just feeding people. We're feeding possibility." The room goes quiet. A reporter in the front row wipes her eyes. That soundbite goes viral. By evening, it's everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, the evening news. We're not just feeding people. We're feeding possibility. In Atlanta, the second community kitchen opens in a neighborhood where 3 grocery stores closed in the past 5 years. A food desert, a place where fresh vegetables are luxury items. Tiana flies down for the opening. The woman they've chosen to run it is named Patricia Washington, a former line cook who lost her job when the pandemic shut down restaurants. She's 47, raising her grandson alone, and when Tiana meets her, she sees herself. "I don't know if I can do this," Patricia admits the night before opening day. They're sitting in the empty kitchen, surrounded by gleaming equipment that still has that new smell. "You can," Tiana says. "You want to know how I know?" "How?" "Because you're scared. And scared means you care. The people who fail are the ones who think it's easy." Patricia laughs, a sound caught between tears and relief. "Nothing about my life has ever been easy. Mine either. But that's our superpower. We know what the people walking through those doors need, because we've been them." The next morning, Patricia serves her first meal, a little girl with braids and a gap-toothed smile who whispers "thank you" so quietly it almost gets lost. But Patricia hears it, and she remembers why she said yes. In Detroit, they hire Marcus Johnson, a veteran who came home from Afghanistan to find no jobs waiting. The kitchen gives him structure, purpose, a reason to wake up at 0500 hours like he did in the service. In Phoenix, they hire Rosa Delgado, an immigrant who learned to cook from her grandmother and dreams of owning a restaurant someday. The training program gives her skills, certification, a path forward. In Philadelphia, they hired James Chen, a former banker, who lost everything in the recession and spent 3 years homeless before clawing his way back. He understands that dignity matters as much as dinner. Each kitchen has a plaque by the door, in memory of every meal someone went without so someone else could eat. May we always remember that kindness multiplies. 9 months into the expansion, Tiana returns to her original kitchen for the quarterly review. She's walking through the dining hall, now serving 400 meals daily, up from 300, when a teenage boy approaches her. He's thin, wearing clothes that don't quite fit, eyes that hold that particular hunger she recognizes immediately, not just for food, for purpose. "Miss Moore?" His voice cracks. "Can I talk to you?" "Of course. What's your name?" "Deshawn. I'm 16. I eat here sometimes with my mom and little sister. I remember you. You always help clear the tables after." His eyes widen. "You notice that?" "I notice everything. What can I help you with?" Deshawn shifts his weight, nervous. "I want to work here. I want to learn to cook. I want to be like you." Tiana's chest tightens. She sees herself in him, that desperation mixed with hope, that hunger for something more than survival. "How old are you?" 16, almost 17. "Still in school?" "Yes, ma'am, junior year." "Good, keep it that way." She pulls out her phone, scrolls through her contacts. "Come back Saturday at 9 a.m. We have a youth apprenticeship program. You'll work weekends, learn professional cooking, get paid minimum wage. But the deal is you stay in school. You graduate. Deal?" Deshawn's eyes fill with tears. "Deal, thank you. Thank you so much." After he leaves, Ruth wheels up beside her daughter. "You saw yourself in him, didn't you?" "Yeah, Mama, I did." "That's good. That's how it spreads." Tiana watches Deshawn walk out, shoulders straighter than when he came in. "What spreads?" "Hope. You give it to him, he'll give it to someone else. That's how we change the world, one hungry kid at a time." That evening, Tiana's phone rings. "Edward, have you seen the numbers?" he asks. "Which numbers?" "All of them. 5 kitchens now serving 1,800 meals daily, 247 people trained in professional cooking, 193 placed in jobs, local farmers in each city reporting increased business because we buy from them. Food waste in those neighborhoods down by 30% because we teach people how to cook what they have." Tiana sits at her desk, looking at the thank you letters covering her wall. Hundreds of them now, some typed, most handwritten. A few in crayon from children. "Remember, Tiana," Edward says softly, "we didn't give you power. You earned it, every single bit of it. I just gave away a chicken dinner. No, you gave away hope, and hope multiplies in ways we can't measure." After they hang up, Tiana pulls out her journal, something Grace suggested she keep. She writes, "I didn't just change my life. I changed how others see kindness. I proved that one person can matter, that one choice can ripple outward forever, that giving away what little you have can come back to you multiplied 1,000 times. But here's what I'm learning. It's not about me anymore. It never was. It's about every Deshawn who walks through the door, every Patricia and Marcus and Rosa and James, every single person who thought they were forgotten. We see you, we feed you, we believe in you, and that belief, that's the real meal." She closes the journal and looks at the photo on her desk, her and her mother at the grand opening, both of them smiling, both of them healthy, both of them proof that life can change in unexpected ways. But her journey wasn't over, because destiny had one more customer waiting. 2 years after Edward Thompson knocked on her door, Tiana Moore drives back to Millie's diner. It's raining again, the same kind of storm that changed her life. Thunder rolling, lightning splitting the sky, rain hammering the windshield like impatient questions. She parks her car, not fancy, but reliable, paid for, and sits for a moment, staring at the flickering neon sign. Millie's Dinner. The E is still burned out. Some things never change. She pulls her coat over her head and runs for the door. The bell chimes, that same bell that announced Edward and Grace 2 years ago. Inside, the diner looks exactly the same. Red vinyl booths, checkerboard floor, the smell of coffee and old grease and memories. Sharon is wiping down the counter. She looks up, does a double take, and drops her rag. "Tea?" Her voice cracks. "Oh my God, Tiana?" They embrace over the counter, both of them crying and laughing. "Look at you," Sharon says, pulling back to really see her. You look like success. I look like someone who finally eats regularly," Tiana jokes. Sharon swats her arm. "Don't be modest. You're famous. You've got 5 kitchens. You've been on TV. You're changing the whole damn world. I'm just doing what needs doing." "That's such a you thing to say." Sharon shakes her head. "What are you doing back here? Shouldn't you be in some fancy kitchen somewhere?" "I wanted to visit, see where it all started." Tiana looks around. "Is Jimmy still cooking? Every night, same as always. Want something to eat?" "Actually, yeah. Can I get 2 chicken dinners?" "2?" Before Tiana can explain, she sees him. A young man, maybe 20, maybe younger, sitting in booth 4, the same booth where Edward and Grace sat. He's soaked through, shivering, staring at a handful of coins on the table, counting them over and over. Tiana's heart stops. She walks over slowly. "Hi there. You okay?" He looks up. White kid, scraggly beard, eyes that have seen too much too young. "I'm fine, just trying to figure out if I have enough for coffee." Tiana glances at the coins. 63 cents. "Coffee's $3, Sharon calls from behind the counter. The young man's face falls. "Right, sorry, I'll just—" He starts to stand. "Wait," Tiana says. The word comes out automatically, muscle memory from a different life. "Please, sit." She goes to the counter, orders 2 chicken dinners, the full meal, the kind she used to save 3 days to afford. Sharon rings her up, understanding dawning on her face. "Dee, you're not." "Yes, I am." Tiana carries both plates to booth 4, sets one in front of the young man who stares at it like it might disappear. "I didn't order this." "I know, but you look hungry, and I had an extra meal." She slides into the booth across from him with her own plate. "Mind if I eat with you? I hate eating alone." His eyes fill with tears. "Why are you doing this?" "Because someone did it for me once, and it changed everything." They eat in comfortable silence. The young man devours his food, not rudely, but with the desperate efficiency of someone who doesn't know when the next meal is coming. Finally, he looks up. "Thank you. I don't know what else to say." "You don't have to say anything. Just promise me something." "Anything. When you're on your feet again, and you will be, remember this feeling. And when you see someone else who needs help, do the same for them." He nods, wiping his eyes with his sleeve. "I promise, I swear to God, I promise." After he leaves, full, warm, with a little hope in his eyes, Sharon sits down across from Tiana. "That was the same booth," she says quietly. "I know. You did the same thing you did that night." "I know." Sharon's voice breaks. "You became them. Edward and Grace. You became the miracle." Tiana shakes her head. "I just became someone who remembers what it's like to be hungry, that's all." Through the window, she sees headlights. A black Mercedes parked across the street, running wipers cutting through the rain. Inside, Edward and Grace Thompson sit together, watching. "She came back," Grace whispers. "She never really left," Edward replies. "That's how you know we chose right. Success didn't change her, it just gave her more plates to share." Grace smiles through tears. She still remembers where it all began. The best ones always do. They watch as Tiana pays her bill, leaving Sharon a $100 tip folded inside the check, and heads for the door. Before she leaves, Tiana pauses, touches the door frame, looks back at booth 4 where a miracle happened to her, and where she just passed that miracle forward. Sharon waves from behind the counter. Tiana waves back. And then she's gone, disappearing into the rain, ready to feed the next person, fight the next battle, prove the next time that kindness isn't weakness. It's the strongest thing we have. The screen fades to black. White text appears. Kindness doesn't end when your hunger does. It multiplies, one meal, one moment, one heart at a time. Today, the Tiana Moore Community Kitchen Project operates in 12 cities, serves over 6,000 meals daily, and has trained 847 people in professional culinary arts. Ruth Moore, now 54 and healthy, manages the community gardens that supply fresh produce to all 12 locations. Deshawn graduated high school with honors and now attends culinary school on a Thompson Foundation scholarship. And Tiana, she still volunteers at Millie's Diner one night a month, serving coffee and chicken dinners to anyone who needs them. Because she knows one selfless choice can feed the world.
Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.